Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from Monroe County Economic Development, accepting applications for the Micro Advantage Loan Program designed to help small businesses with expenses such as equipment upgrades, marketing, and hiring. Details at monroecountybusiness.org.
As public radio stations across the country navigate an uncertain funding future, it's time for you to become a sustaining member or increase your monthly contribution to your public radio station. Your support ensures the future of independent media in this community and beyond.
Member support powers the programs you love on WXXI. When you become a member, you will unlock the PBS Passport benefit. Thousands of shows, on demand, anytime. Join us today at WXXI.org/give.
From WXXI News, this is Connections. I'm Evan Dawson. Our connection this hour is made with a bit of advice. Listen to Your Mother. That's the title of a nationally renowned production where cast members of all backgrounds share stories about mothers. Those stories might be about biological mothers, adoptive mothers, mother figures, and more. It's all about the influence that maternal figures have in our lives. And a local performance of the event is set for Saturday. As part of the annual tradition, we're bringing a little bit of a preview on Connections. This is going to be a fast-moving hour. So first of all, listeners, if you want to share stories about your moms, something that stands out to you, a reason that your life is better or different or something that you draw upon, you can send us an email, connections@wxxi.org. We're not giving you the full show. We wouldn't give you everything in advance, but we're going to have some fun this hour with Erin Waller, the executive producer of Listen to Your Mother. Welcome to the program. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
And let's go around the table with our first cast. We've got two different casts this hour. Fonda Abdoch is an author and cast member. Welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Emily Benson, a cast member. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
Amanda Kernahan, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, Erin, briefly, when people ask you what you are doing, what's the brief description you want to give for what Listen to Your Mother is all about here?
Listen to Your Mother is 14 storytellers coming to the stage at Hochstein Saturday night, sharing their experience of motherhood, either having a mom, being a mom, having a mother-in-law. There's always a good mother-in-law story, right? And it is just an experience where we can all come together, be united by stories, be healed by stories, and to also have a great experience to have your mom out with you on a Saturday night before Mother's Day. And as a bonus, all of the proceeds are supporting teen empowerment, so you can even feel better about your night out.
Tickets are $20 Saturday, 7:30 at Hochstein. Tickets still available.
They sure are.
And do you think the show, an entire show, would be different? You've got Listen to Your Mother. If you had Listen to Your Mother-in-law, would that be a different show?
That's a different show.
That might be a different show.
That's a different show.
But it's for like mothers of all forms here, so.
Exactly.
Not just biological mothers. And what we're going to do here is we've got 6 people alongside Erin who are going to be giving us sort of a brief taste of what inspired them to get on the stage. And we'll have them share a little bit of their story without giving away the whole story. Is that all right here?
That's perfect.
Do you have a favorite from over the years? Or do you have your own story of your own mother, a mother figure for you that you would want to
So
tell
I
us
was
about?
very fortunate to be in the show in 2018. And at that time, I did a story about my grandmother. She was a fierce female role model for me, and it was actually part of the eulogy that I delivered for her, sharing her influence on my life and the impact that it really had.
I'm the first thing that comes to mind when I think of my mother, beyond all the wonderful, absolutely loyal and life-giving things that she's done for me, is I've never met anyone who is a worse voice texter than my mother. My mom will voice text me, and for some reason, the voice text will screw up what she's trying to say, and instead of deleting it, she will just tell it to fix it. And I will get a very long text with her. She wanted to ask me how to tell when a pineapple is ripe. And so she said, how can you tell when a pineapple is rich? And then the text said, not rich, rich, not rich, rich. And then in all caps, it said ripe, R-I-P-E, ripe, why are you not working? Those are the words that were texted to me. All of that. She could have just deleted it and started over. I keep all of them. All of them. Because she's the best. She's the absolute best. And I don't ever want her to learn how to voice text properly, and I don't ever want her to stop doing that. She is a cartoon character, but she's my favorite person in the world. That's just like a brief. That's like the first. Why is that the first thing that comes to mind? Because she makes me laugh. Because she's the best.
It's perfect. It sounds like you should be in the show next year.
I have a fear of audiences, but I will work on it.
If you could, that'd be great.
The show is Saturday, 7:30 at Hoxton. How long have you been doing it here, by the way?
So the show ran for 10 years, and then we took a 4-year hiatus. So we are returning to the stage this year after a 4-year break. I think 2 COVID shows kind of broke us.
Yeah.
And it was time to bring it back, that this was a cherished sort of ritual for some. And being able to sit in a room and hear stories and have them unite people is such a powerful gift. And so to be able to bring that back and do that Saturday night it's really going to be incredible. And you're going to hear that today.
You've got 14 stories to share this weekend, right?
We do.
I do think, by the way, Erin, that we are, quote unquote, back to normal and have been for years since COVID, but there will never be a sort of back to the pre-COVID years. And in many ways, we don't even know how. There are certain things that we do different that's totally obvious, like wearing pajama pants in public. And then there's certain things that happen that it's harder to tell. And that is, maybe you go to the movie less often and you just stream it at home. Maybe you don't go out to visit someone and you just text. I don't know. There's a lot of things. But I'm glad to see this back, just because I like when people are together in person. I really do think it matters. So it's a lovely idea. And let's hear some of the stories. By the way, of the 14 that are on stage, how many applications or ideas do you get before you choose?
So we listened to nearly 40 stories. And, it's really important to mention there's no bad story. These 14 people trusted us. They were brave enough to come and share with us. And we are so grateful for that. But what we do look for is sort of this thread that weaves the stories together. And so when we are trying to cast the show, which, by the way, was an over 2-hour conversation, trying to figure out what worked and what was going to sort of go together, this is what we landed on. I wish we could do a show a night for 3 nights, quite frankly, because there's so much power in these stories, and they're so universal.
So let's start with Fonda Abdoch, who is in the cast here. And so the microphone is yours here. Tell us about your mother, or the mother that you are talking about.
The mother I'm talking about is myself. My story is a part of a grieving healing process from a child loss. And this is a way for me to just kind of put that exclamation point after healed there. So I'm so happy for the opportunity.
Why did you decide to share this in so public a way?
I went on Instagram one day and I saw a friend, her name is Stephanie, and she had auditioned for the show, and she had auditioned something that was very vulnerable, that I didn't know that she was experiencing these things as a mother. And she just inspired me to go out and tell my story. And even if I didn't get on stage, just being able to say the words that I had been reading to myself over and over again was so amazing. It was life-changing.
I don't want to be trite and ask you if this is an act of healing, because your loss, I presume, is always going to be a loss. I mean, it doesn't end. But is it an act of healing in a way?
It is absolutely an act of healing. I think being able to tell my story and then other people share their stories, and then me seeing the connection between their lives and my loss, I feel like for me it helped me understand that I don't have to the pain doesn't have to stay on me. I'm releasing so much pain, I don't feel it as heavy as I had felt it in the past. And this is just that final piece of, you don't have to live with this on your back.
It was on Instagram that you saw, is that right?
Yes, it was.
See, I'm very cynical about social media, but here's something that actually helped you find something positive. I don't know when your loss happened. Was it a recent?
2017.
Has social media helped in any way? Has it made it harder?
It has done both, but I had to watch myself. I had to be careful, everything in moderation. So I had to take what resonated with me. If it didn't make me feel good, if it didn't make me process better, if it didn't change my mindset, it wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just you have to create your own habits when it comes to social media, because there are some really good places on there that help me in the deepest ways that I wouldn't have gotten, especially in the pandemic.
I mean, I am genuinely heartened to hear that, because of all the research that you read about how, social media makes us feel more isolated and more alone. For you, in many ways, as long as you're using it effectively.
Yes, I found
it's
the
helped you.
community, and I knew I wasn't alone.
What do you hope that the audience is going to take away from your presentation this weekend?
I hope that they take away that all the things you can gain spiritually and mentally from a loss like this, that life comes after. I had 3 other daughters after it. That there are secrets that we do keep during these times that we don't have to, that there are other parents, not just women, other parents who have the same feeling, the same pain, and they want to turn it into power as well. So I hope people come out feeling heard through my story and feeling powerful after.
You have 3 daughters.
I have 4 daughters total.
Okay. That's part of why I wanted to ask. We had a disability rights advocate and attorney, Stephanie Woodward, on the program talking about having the children she has. And she does not talk about a child that she lost in the past. She talks about having that number of children. And that's important to her. Important to you too?
I used to do that because I had to. I had to keep saying, I had to keep remembering them, and it would be 6, and then it went to 5.
Okay.
So I had to keep remembering them, but I'm at a space where I just know they're here. So I recognize the daughters that come because of their loss, and I don't know. I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't realize.
No, I look, I think
it's a good space.
But I think when people are talking to someone who's gone through something so profound, and outside of our own experience, people will be clumsy. Like, it's like, what do you say? What's the right thing to say? What's the wrong thing to say? Is there like a wrong thing to say that people say?
I can't say that, because everything is said for a reason. I feel like one thing I do if someone says, "Oh, you didn't have any boys," I say, "No, I do have a son. He's just up there. He's in heaven."
Yeah.
But I've had people talk about God, and it not being. God wouldn't take like that, and I don't feel that same way. I feel that everything happens for a reason, and it's still added to my life. Although it is classified as a loss, spiritually for me, it is still a gain. It is still,
what do people say about God?
that God wouldn't take a child, that God wouldn't do that. So I'm like, if God didn't do that, I don't know who did.
Oh,
so I've had that happen a lot.
I don't know why someone would say that. That's very strange.
Well, that's a hurt. If they, if you love God the way that person loves God, and they love their child that same way, it doesn't make sense to them, and I understand it, and we just talk through it, and I say what I feel, and they say what they feel, and
I mean, Erin Waller, we started with a tough, heavy one here, powerful story.
Incredibly. And I have to tell you, when Fonda auditioned, one of her daughters was there, and we invited her into the room, and not knowing what her story was, by the way. And if you could see the way that her daughter looked at her, in just beaming with pride and knowing the story, knowing what had happened, it was just this beautiful moment. And I mean, we asked Fonda if it was okay first, I should clarify, but she was like, yeah, of course, she can come in. She knows the story. And just to see her daughter look at her and be in awe of her, it was really beautiful.
Wow. How old is that daughter?
She is 12. Oh,
She's 12. Doing okay?
Yeah.
Those are hard ages. She's probably learned a lot. She's matured a lot.
Yes, she has.
What a story. I appreciate you sharing some of that with us.
Thank you.
And that's just a preview. Fonda Abdoch is an author and a cast member of Listen to Your Mother. That's happening Saturday at Hochstein. The show is at 7:30. Tickets are still available. And that they got plenty of space. In the past, in the early, what we call the before days of the pandemic, I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of people, and that's what you expect on Saturday, right?
That's the goal. I should mention, too, we do have a live stream ticket available. So if you can't be there, or you have somebody from out of town that you think needs to see the show, that we do have that available as well. But yes, I mean, we would love to fill the Hochstein.
I wanted to say, Erin, we just talked about this. You got to go in person.
I do.
But
That is my preference.
But I get it. I understand. First of all, everybody's got different reasons. Maybe you get sick and you want to go see the show. There's lots of different ways you can see it. Okay. There's more, by the way, at the website. We'll have a link in our show notes. Let's go across the table. Emily Benson is a cast member. Tell us about your version of listening to your mother.
Yeah. So my piece, not quite as heavy as far as the premise is making breakfast for my teenage son, and through that act of love and service, I kind of explore themes of the balance required in motherhood, the dichotomy between the expectations that you sometimes come into the experience with versus the reality of the experience being so much different in many ways, and trying to find that balance between, you know, the ideal way that you have in your head and what reality dictates in terms of mothering children.
What do you think has been the hardest, that bifurcation of an image of what you'd hoped or thought it might be versus a reality?
I think, you know, you have these expectations going in of like, oh, I'm going to, you know, limit screen time, or I'm going to cook all healthy food, or you have these sort of values that, you know, are valid, and what you may have either been raised with or what you glean from the media or for just from your own set of values. But then when you're confronted with a whole other person who has a very strong personality, has their own ideas about, you know, what they want to do, and you have to learn that person's personality, right? I mean, they are your child, and while they're very young, you have a certain amount of control over, you know, what they do and where they go and what they eat. But as they get older and they develop more, you know, more personality and more autonomy, you have to try to foster that. And with that comes a lot of, you know, compromise.
Do you think there is a judging of the compromise that happens? We talked about social media. That's one example. But do you feel sort of, they call it the mommy wars or the judgment, the parent wars there?
You know, I personally don't, and I know a lot of people
How
do.
do you not?
I don't know.
And what superpower did you develop?
I just don't really listen. I have enough of my own anxiety about my choices. I don't need to listen to anybody else's. That's kind of my feeling on the thing. I just don't pay attention to, you know, what people are saying. Oh, you know, I read in this book that you're supposed to do this, and I'm so in my head about it, and I'm just think, well, you got to kind of roll with it.
Okay, this is not real. And it is remarkable to be able to kind of resist that, because I think that just the modern, all the different fragments of media that we consume, it's hard to avoid that judgment, and everyone has an opinion. And I think almost everyone who is a parent of some kind is doing their best.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And has hard moments where the last thing you want to do is X, and you may do X just because you need to get through the next 5 minutes or the next half an hour, or whatever the case may be. So I really appreciate the fact that you feel like you can just set that aside. And in the same way, I would assume you give a lot of grace to others about their choices.
Absolutely. I mean, it is hard. You know, it's joyful and it's rewarding and it's incredible and, you know, near on magical sometimes, but it is hard. And I know that, you know, more people than not are just trying to do their best for their kids and for themselves.
Why did you want to put this on stage?
I am a poet primarily in my writing life, and I had been trying to write a poem with the central image of this piece for quite a while, and I just couldn't make it happen. I wrote probably 4 or 5 different versions of it, and they just were not what I wanted them to be. And then like Fonda, I saw the post about the auditions on social media, and I knew that as part of my goal in my writing life this year, I wanted to be more a part of a community, a writing community and a storytelling community. And when I saw the post about the auditions, I said, this is it. This is the opportunity to show up, put myself out there, surround myself with creative people. Even if it doesn't work out with the audition, I'm at least doing it. I'm doing the thing. I'm, you know, putting myself out there. And I signed up. I did not have anything written. I had no idea what I was going to audition with. And as soon as I did, I took a walk and started writing what became this story.
In poetry form, the story for the stage.
Yeah,
Did you
exactly.
ever complete the final poem?
No, just became this.
It became
and I'm really
that.
happy
Oh.
with this. Yeah.
I was going to ask if you want to read any of the drafts of the poetry, but
Absolutely not.
definitely not. Well, a man can ask. Why did this one make the cut for you?
So when you hear Emily's piece, you can actually taste and smell what she's cooking. And her word choice, you can tell she's a poet. Her word choice is just superb. And you are just sort of in that aroma in her kitchen. And it's so beautiful. And we talk about, all these things that you're supposed to do as parents. Nourish your children, the screen time, all the things. You are nourished by this story. It's absolutely exquisite.
Well, and it's interesting that Erin's talking about your word choice. I mean, that's obviously a very high compliment. And as a poet, I imagine you really fixate a lot on finding the right turn of phrase or the right word. Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
Aren't you so glad though now that if you hit a wall, you've got ChatGPT?
No.
It's a whole other conversation as
That's the wrong room.
It is the wrong room. Emily, before we turn away from your story, and again, Emily's part of the cast for the event on Saturday night at Hochstein with Listen to Your Mother. I just want to ask you a little bit about being a poet, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So what inspired you in an early life to really love poetry?
I've actually been writing poetry since I was really little. A couple years ago, went over to my parents' house, and it was one of those moments where my mom pulled out the bin of you should go through this to get it out of my house, and it was a lot of my old school papers. And I found in that was a poem that I had written when I was about 6 years old.
6?
Yeah. And so I don't know, it kind of, it created a through line that I hadn't really realized. I knew that I had been writing since, at least sort of middle school, high school, college. I had those notebooks available to me, but realizing that it had been since I was that little, I've always loved to read, and I've always loved the kind of music of language. And I grew up in a household that really appreciated the music of language and the creativity of language. And even when we have dinner with my parents and my kids and my husband now, big part of the dinner is wordplay. And so everybody
That's great.
chiming in and making puns and coming up with fun language associations. And it's always been part of my life.
Do you have a favorite poet?
Oh, that's a very hard question. I am a huge fan of Mary Oliver. She's definitely one of my big favorites.
How often are you writing?
So I actually just completed April is National Poetry Month, and every year I commit to writing a new poem every single day and posting it for accountability purposes. They're very rough drafts, minimally edited. And I just write one every day, and it's a really lovely way to kind of return to my craft and just really practice it and live in that for an entire month.
But you write it every day, but you're
Yes.
sharing it publicly every day?
I am, yes, on my Instagram.
I mean, this one's, I'm hearing Fonda's story and thinking how raw things are to share certain things publicly. Sometimes you're on writing,
Yeah.
but no hesitation? Put it out there?
Oh, sometimes. So I write every day. I don't necessarily share it every day. Sometimes it needs either a little more zhuzhing or it needs a different set of eyes than people who actually know me.
Well, congratulations on being in the cast.
Thank you.
And I know you're going to have a great time. Let's turn to Amanda Kernahan, who's also a cast member of Listen to Your Mother. That's coming back on Saturday at Hochstein. So what are you listening to when it comes? Which mother are you listening to this time here?
My story is about my mother, and like Fonda, my story is a story of healing and grief and about losing my mother when I was in my 20s and I was a new mother myself. And so my story is about finding healing in nature and the outdoors.
Again, I want to return to this question of why you wanted to put this out so publicly.
I think for me, especially that this event is taking place on Mother's Day weekend, losing my mother was one of the most pivotal moments of my life. And even though it was 17 years ago, Mother's Day weekend is a hard weekend for me every single year. And I think bringing my mom onto the stage and bringing her memory into this weekend in such a public way is a really lovely way to honor her. And I'm always looking for ways to keep her memory with me and to keep her spirit with the people who knew her. And all of my family is coming out for the show. They live outside of Albany, and they're making the trip out to Rochester to be there. And so I think it's the perfect night to bring the story to the stage.
What is the first thing you think about when you think about your mom?
Her sense of humor. She was really funny.
And what is the hardest part of not having that?
The hardest part of not having my mom is being a mother myself. I have 2 kids, and my mother has missed my kids' lives, and not having her guidance, being a mom, and not having her to call and ask for, what do I do when my kid is sick? Or my daughter's in college this year, so that was a big transition point. Having her apply and going through all of those steps is hard to do without someone to turn to and ask for advice. And so I think that's what's been the hardest for me.
How many kids do you have?
2.
How old were they when your mom passed?
My daughter was almost 2, and my son was not yet born.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Thank you.
I don't even know how. I mean, this is the clumsy part that we talked about with Fonda, but wanting your children to know what you know.
Yes.
Wanting your children to have the love and the depth of experience, and knowing that they can't just feels unfair.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things about my story. I think it really brings my mom's personality into it. And that's one of the things I'm grateful for, is that my children hear this story. They hear stories like this. And it's a small way that I can bring her to them and make that connection between the generations that can't see each other.
I lost all 4 of my biological grandparents when I was 14 to 15. And, so I knew them, and I remember them, but not, as a fully formed person. So I really, really am grateful for the time that I had. But I sometimes look back and wonder what it would have been like to be able to have more conversations or have more experience. Do you talk to how much do your kids know about your mom?
I think my daughter probably knows a lot more than my son. My son is turning 14 this month, but my daughter, because she was a baby when my mother died, but I think I grieved as she was growing, and so my grief was such a visceral part of her childhood, and I healed as she was growing. And I think that she has heard many stories about my mom, more than my son probably.
So they've heard stories. Do you have any sort of media form or audio or video that you share?
Sadly, not much video or audio, but my mother was an artist, and so I do have all of her paintings in our house. They're on every wall, and I did I inherited she collected Matryoshka dolls, the Russian nesting dolls, and so we have those around the house. And so I have some of her belongings, and I think that keeps her around too.
Well, what a powerful story there. And Erin Waller, again, I want to ask you about the decision to put this on stage.
There is this whimsy and magic that you hear about Amanda's mom as she shares this story, and it really is both humorous, so I can definitely see that her mom had this humor bent to her, because there is this just gentle humor in the grief. And I don't want to give it away, but it's so great. You have to hear it. And I promise you, a walk in nature will never be the same for you again.
Wow. Well, Amanda, do you ever catch yourself either the way you laugh or a personal saying or just an expression and you go, oh, that's from my mother? Do you have any of those?
I think more so now that I'm getting older. My mom was in her 40s when she passed away, and now I'm in my 40s. And not so much a saying or a laugh, but every now and then I'll catch myself in the mirror and I can see my mother looking back. And we do look very similar, but as I'm getting older, I can see it more clearly.
I do wonder over time if you'll notice little things, even in your kids as they get older, and you'll say, they don't know,
Yeah.
But that came from me and that came from Mom. You know?
My daughter's personality definitely has a lot of my mom in
Yeah,
it.
that's so cool. I mean, like there's times where I will do this, and I've noticed my 14-year-old would do this, where my mother has this way of not realizing that she thinks she's made a full point, and then she just stops speaking. She'll say, "Oh, did you see that show? It was just," and that's it. That's all you got. I mean, I think we know that she thought it was something. It was extraordinary, and I do that now, and I'm going, I can't believe I do this. Then I go, oh, "That's Mom," you know. And now I hear a 14-year-old, I'm like, oh, man, look at you, man. So
Yep.
I wonder if you'll see that over the years. And Amanda, I know that people are going to be touched by what they're going to say. Obviously they are. We are today. Thanks for being here to share it.
Of course, thank you.
Fonda Abdoch, Emily Benson, Amanda Kernahan, all sharing why they are part of the cast. They're going to step aside, and we're going to bring in 3 other faces and cast members as well at the other side of this only break of the hour as we talk about why you should listen to your mother.
Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from Bob Johnson Auto Group, believing an informed public makes for a stronger community. Proud supporter of Connections with Evan Dawson, focused on the news, issues, and trends that shape the lives of listeners in the Rochester and Finger Lakes regions. BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com.
This is Connections. I'm Evan Dawson. We're here with Erin Waller, the executive producer of Listen to Your Mother, and 6 of the cast members, 14 in all, for an event that's happening on Saturday night. It's at 7:30 at Hochstein, and tickets are still available. Erin had mentioned that the net proceeds benefit teen empowerment, and so if you want to attend, you can do that. There's also a live stream ticketing option available as well. We'll have a link in our show notes later today if you want to access that too. So, Erin, this every time I start an interview, I'm like, I'm not really ready for what I'm hearing. This is heavy stuff. Like in a really beautiful, good way here. I'm drained. Do you want to host the next half hour?
I got you if you need it, yes. And I will tell you, that's what motherhood is, though, right? So we are riding this wave, if you will. And it is. It's exhilarating. It's exhausting. It's important. And it's messy. And it's beautiful. And so that is what you will see on the stage Saturday night. And this is, just a glimpse of that. But it really is a powerful, I say that word a lot. It is such a powerful, beautiful night. And I cried all throughout auditions. I mean, I was a mess.
Now, listen, I'm not doing any PR for you, but I'm just going to say this. It's also really funny. There's a lot of laughter. It's not just crying. It's not just crying for 14 sets.
But
it's all that. I mean, like I've seen it. So
absolutely.
Again, I'm not. You can do your own PR. I just. It's such an interesting mix here, and you're getting a sense of that from the 3 stories you've already heard. So should we keep going around the table? Yeah, let's do it. Leah McGuire, as a cast member here.
Hello.
Tell us a little bit about who you're listening to on Saturday.
So I'm listening to my wonderful mother. I'm excited to break up the sadness here a little bit and talk about a wonderful story. This is the moment that I really fell in love with her. Like in my adulthood, I used to live in London, so I'd come home on short breaks and just spend some time with her. And in the contrast of not having her around for months and months on end every year, I'd come home and we would just be in this like whole new level of like love and presence with each other. And there was a particular story because when I was in London, I was ready to be my adult self. And I was living as her, paying my rent and, doing the things the landlord asked me to do. And I was so ready to be that powerful woman that I was. And coming home was going back into the role of a kid again. So there was this moment one time where she lost her voice, and I ended up having to step up for her in a few ways. But it was really funny. Just a simple retrieving of ranch dressing for her at a pizza restaurant ended up creating this amazing bond between us, like a deeper level of trust. And
ranch dressing?
Could you believe it? Ranch, good old buttermilk ranch. So
for pizza?
I didn't know I was getting judged right now.
It was a question. It wasn't an interrogation.
Yes. Have you tried it?
No. But I'm very curious about it. I'm very open to it.
I'm open to you not being open. I know that Italians are really, really angry about this concept, so it's up to you.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt here. So that ranch changed your life? It pivoted your relationship a little bit?
It kind of did, yeah. There was a through line of a separate story going on. You probably remember during a Bills game when Damar Hamlin went into cardiac arrest on the football field.
Oh, yeah.
So this was happening at the same time, and it was really making me, like, between going back and forth to London, it was really helping me question, like, mortality and, how much time do we really have here? Because something about watching a football player on the field, like, you just expect, like, celebrities and people on TV to be immortal. Mm-hmm. So when they're not, it really deeply affects you. And I could feel like New York and the nation was affected by that cardiac arrest as well. So it made me think harder about where I was. Like, I ended up extending my trip, and this is where the ranch dressing opportunity got to happen. But that's where I became my adult self, and we just accepted each other as, like, this newer version of ourselves. So it's like a love story.
The adult version, did she have to work to accept you as an adult and not a kid anymore?
I feel that, yes. Sorry, Mom. I do feel that it took me some time, and that's part of the reason why I write. Using my voice is so important to me. It's vital to my existence. And, like, as a result of some hard things that happened to me as a child, like, using my voice is how I empower myself and what I feel is the purpose of my life. So, yeah, that ties in with adulthood. Like, I got to have the voice for her in that moment. She didn't have her own voice.
Yeah, it's something that sometimes is very smooth, this transition from childhood, adolescence into adulthood. And sometimes it can be very difficult for mothers to look at their child as an adult. And sometimes it can be difficult for adults to transition and figure out what relationship do I have now? And, like, does the nature of it change? Yeah. You pretty happy with sort of the progression of it?
I believe so, yeah. I've changed a lot since then, and feel like I've started my own progress, like my own life as an individual. I do live in Rochester now, but there's been so many pros of being here, like being on the show and on the radio right now. But yeah, I feel like I've stepped up into the adult that I am.
What had taken you to London?
I was going to get my master's in creative writing. So I had a really interesting upbringing of thinking fashion design would make me the coolest person. So I decided to get my bachelor's in that. And then slowly it just tore me apart. And my roommates where I lived in Florida at the time were slowly, like, killing me because they were in a really toxic relationship. And I ended up, through a series of events, having a near-death experience that led me to the ER one night. And it was my revelation that I didn't want to waste time anymore in playing this role that I thought would be acceptable. I wanted to instead be who I was, like who I really was, and to pursue what I really felt like I was here for, which was, I'm not going to write a book in another lifetime. It's going to be this one. So that's what sent me on this journey to Finland, where I had a writing residency and finished my first book. And that was in 2019. Finished my 5th draft, and I'm kind of going on one right now. But just basically, at some point, I was like, I need more help with writing, and decided to get my master's in London.
What a story. So just briefly here, Erin Waller is the executive producer. Why is this story going to be on the stage?
So it's one of those moments where you realize you're growing up and your mom now has a different role, right?
Yep.
And you sort of cross over into that. We're more than just mother-daughter. We're friends. We are connected and we need each other. And it really is beautiful. And there's a lot of imagery in this as well. Damar Hamlin also on the TV. I mean, I think we all were watching that game, or you saw it afterwards, which, by the way, free tickets for Damar if he's around. We'd love to have him. He's totally welcome to join us. So there is just this image of this change, and it's a beautiful, important one.
And a really near universal kind of set of questions and experiences. Leah, congratulations on all of the future books that you're going to write too.
Thank you.
And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thanks for telling the story here. Let's go across the table. Kyle Semmel, he's an author. He's been on this program before. But why did you want to get on stage and do this?
I think I'll start by saying I saw one of the earlier shows. I saw 3 or 4 years of shows at the beginning when I first moved back to Rochester. So I was very familiar with the process with the program, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. You mentioned earlier how there's a range of stories, and you can laugh, you can cry. There's all these amazing stories that are they're 5 minutes long. They're not long, so you can go in there, you can see these, you can get a lot of life stories in small format. And it's just amazing. And so when I saw that they had auditions for this year's program, I thought I'm going to do this, because actually after one of the first programs I watched, I thought I think I have a story, something that happened to me. It's something I learned from my mother when I was 8, and if it ever comes back again, maybe I'll give it a shot. And so when I saw that the auditions were happening, I thought, now's the time. And like Meagan, I hadn't actually, like Emily, I hadn't actually written anything. I just knew that this is the story I wanted to tell.
So, and by the way, listeners, if you're watching on YouTube here, we've got 6 of the cast members along with the executive producer. It is a packed studio here. We're fitting in as much as we can for this hour, but it's not even half of what, and it's none of the full stories, and it's not even half of the cast. So it's going to be a packed night on Saturday, although fast moving, as you said. You only got 5 minutes. So
give or take.
Your last book was how many words?
65,000.
Yeah. So,
This is only 1,000, a little more than 1,000.
Tightly edited. Do you want to briefly give us a little taste of what you're talking about?
Yeah, so when I was 8, my siblings and I were driving with our mother to a friend's place where they had a pool, and it was the middle of summer, and everyone knows it's really summer, muggy and all that, and so we were really excited. I won't give too much away, but I'll just say that on the drive there, we saw something, and my mother had to stop the car. And it was something that she then told me after this episode that has stuck with me ever since. And that's what the story is about. And the one little interesting nugget about all this is when I decided I was going to write this story, I texted my 3 siblings, and I asked them what they remembered of this event.
Oh, that's great.
And it was fascinating how we all remember it differently, and sometimes somewhat radically differently. So it was interesting in that regard, and it was using their voices that helped kind of spur the writing of the story itself.
And is there any agreement now on the story, or is there still disagreement on the details?
The agreement that I think everyone has in my family is that I was wrong, and they were right.
Do you agree with that now? Do you feel like the consensus has overruled your own memory of it?
They were probably right, yes. But what my mother told me is 100% true, and that is the part that I have. The actual, the outline of the story, the memory of the episode is not as important as what my mother said, which is 100% true.
And everyone remembers what she said. Everyone, or she only said it to you.
Well, she said it to me, but it's all of us. We remember that. Yeah,
I find that so. I get hot and cold on Malcolm Gladwell. But he did have, in his podcast series, he had a very interesting episode on memory and how unreliable our memories are. And one example that one of his guests gave was just take an event that everybody thinks that you could never forget, even like a 9/11. Everybody, well, I know where I was. They will go back and research this, and most people, like 75% of people, don't even remember where they were. Like, they're wrong. They'll misplace it. They'll misplace a sequence of events. And these are on big things. So even with you and your siblings, it's amazing like how you all can remember the frame of it, but what happens within that frame, it's debated.
It's interesting. The last time I was on this program talking about the Book of Losman, my debut novel, we talked about this exact book by Malcolm Gladwell. The same memory is coming back from that experience.
I love that, see? And so I just wanted to test you a little bit. No, and for me, our family debates why our name is Dawson, because my name isn't actually Dawson, it's Gustafson. My great-grandfather was Axel Gustafson, and our whole family for years told the story that he needed a job, and the guy was running the business told him, like, you're going to have to learn English, and you're going to have to change your name. No one likes pronouncing it. And he looked across the street at a cabaret, and the name of the performer on the cabaret was Dawson, and you're Dawson now. Everybody told that story for years until my uncle came in and said, that's not what he told me. He told me that he didn't have any money to get on a bus to get up to Jamestown, New York. And so the person who gave him money to get on the bus, last name was Dawson. So he took his name as like a thank you. Yeah. And then my other uncle's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why would he take the guy's name? He would just thank him.
Yeah.
And they were both convinced that this big story, this big family story was, everyone's got a different version of it. So
yeah. Well, the nice thing about stories is that really there's a truth in the story, regardless of whether or not the actual evidence
for sure
is the same. That everyone tells the same.
Yeah, like my truth is Dawson is a fraudulent name. It's just fraud. We're actually Swedish.
And yet it's your name.
It
right?
is. It is really. It is really. Kyle is such a good writer that I would be really keen to see what you have to do within 5 minutes. And I was very excited to see Kyle's name in this. Briefly, Erin, why did this make the cut?
So, admittedly, I did fangirl a little bit. So, I knew Kyle, who he was when he was at Writers and Books, and loved the work that he did there. And so that was part of it for me. And I was, when you get to see somebody that you had admired from far, that's pretty awesome. There's also another one of those universal stories in this, right, as he just alluded to. But even the opening of it, and it's that image of all being piled in the car, going to somebody's house that's got the pool. Like I can see that,
awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And you talk about how well he writes. That's part of it, for sure.
Fantastic writer. Thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you. And thanks for those nice words.
Book of Losman is still for sale everywhere, by the way.
Yes, it is.
It's a great book. And we read a lot of books, and they're not always great. That one's a great one. Meagan Zdep is a cast member as well. All right, Meagan, the floor is yours. Who you're listening to who?
Myself. I reflect on myself as a mother, and it was actually inspired by a social media trend that I saw where moms were struggling to remember the last time they picked up their kids. So they were then going and picking up their most often older teenage children and creating this moment and asking them, I'm going to pick you up now, and kind of creating this moment to just cherish and savor it, because so many things when we're raising our kids happen for the last time, and we don't realize it in the moment.
Oh, man, that's rough.
Yes. So that kind of sparked my brain thinking, now I have younger kids. Mine are 10, 7, and 5. But already I've had so many things that have happened for the last time. So then I kind of started going down a rabbit hole of the things that stuck out to me.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, thing 2 in my household is now 10 months old, almost 10 months old. And he had this cool thing for a while where every time he sneezed, he would comment on it. He would go, achoo. Oh. It was like he could not sneeze without commenting. And I loved that. And now it's gone.
Yep.
I mean, it's like those silly little things.
Yep.
Or the last time you hold a child, like you have to pick them up and hold them.
Up. Mm-hmm.
So your 10-year-old, you're not holding a 10-year-old, I don't think, on a regular basis.
No.
7.
No.
So
7?
I think 6 was it for me. I actually remember thing 1. I can remember the last time I held him.
Yeah.
I was walking through a stream in Grimes Glen, and I almost fell. But that was it. Like, he was tired. I'm like, oh my God, he wants me to hold him. I think it's been a while, and that was it.
Well, that's special that you have.
I
that
know.
moment.
I couldn't. Yeah. So your 5-year-old, you're still holding a 5-year-old.
Yep. She'll still ask, especially she's the 3rd child. She's still saying, "Pick me up."
I love. See, and don't you love? Especially now that
I'm more aware of it.
Oh no. When's the last time gonna be?
Yeah.
Well, just ask her to tell you.
Yes.
You're like, let me know when you're like done with this.
Yeah.
What an awesome idea. Oh, and also terrible.
Yes.
And really sad.
I know.
And beautiful.
Yep. It's a mixture of it all.
I know. Okay. Oh, Erin Waller, this is like a slam dunk on this one here. I mean, they all really were, but
It really is. I think what's so beautiful about Meagan's story is it's asking us to be present, right? To be in those moments and really cherish them. And unfortunately, as you've heard from some of these other stories, life is fleeting. And so when you do take that time, take that pause and be present, it's really special. And I can say unanimously, when all of the producers heard this piece, they knew exactly where it was going to be in the show. I'm not going to tell you where. But it was one of those that this encapsulates motherhood for in so many ways.
Meagan, is there something that the 10-year-old used to do that you really miss?
Let's see. All three of them, my kids did this. It's when they were babies of they would give me these open mouth kisses, where they would kiss your cheek with their mouth wide open and slobber. And I don't know. That's just something I think, how long did that last? That was a short phase, but it was always one of my favorites.
And they all three did that? Interesting.
All three did, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a neat idea. And good luck. There's been a lot of questions on why you want to share this publicly. This one is so universal.
It is. It is. I always think about time, right? And time passing and how much changes and are we present enough? And it's a struggle, and it's something I think about a lot. And it's very relatable. I think a lot of people can relate to it.
I'll close with this. You have me thinking about a friend of mine yesterday who I was on the road most of the day, and I was texting him, and I tried calling him, and he did not respond at all. And now, we have this idea that people owe us their time. How could you not text me back in an hour, 6 hours? And he texted me this morning, and he said, his son is turning 1, and he said, well, I'm spending most of my time with on a weekend. I try not to even have a phone near me.
Amazing.
And I was like, yes, I was the jerk. That was me. I was mad at you yesterday, and now I'm mad at me. Look what you've done to all of us, Meagan. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Erin Waller, executive producer of Listen to Your Mother. It is Saturday at Hochstein, 7:30. Tickets are still available. There are live stream tickets still available as well if you can't attend in person. And again, I told Erin, I don't do PR. I just help people, and they can make their own decisions. But a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun this hour. Really powerful. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Have a great time on Saturday. 5-minute stories, 14 of them, and you heard little bits of them here. For all of them, thanks everybody. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Erin. From all of us at Connections, thanks for being with us. We are back with you tomorrow on member-supported public media.
This program is a production of WXXI Public Radio. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of this station, its staff, management, or underwriters. The broadcast is meant for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or use in another medium without expressed written consent of WXXI is strictly prohibited. Connections with Evan Dawson is available as a podcast. Just click on the Connections link at WXXInews.org.